News and Entertainment. Jason
Right.
Douglas here along with Court Rodnowski.
Here I
And
am.
we're over here on
Yep.
Friday, April the 3rd,
Yep. So,
2026.
okay. So my audience, Yankee T News. Here I am, Cord Ronowski, working with Jason. I'm trying to turn Connecticut red. Oh boy.
Oh my hell.
Anyway, okay. So that we're going to touch on a number of things. But anybody who happy? We got two people already. My goodness.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So all right. So this chart is a little bit dated, not two, because I think if you look at, or that's the balance of trade, but their total economy is around 400. Yeah, it says around here 359 billion. So that's a couple years old. 450 billion would be their more recent, the size of their economy, which, by the way, would be Elon Musk. You would have to have 4 Iranian economies to equal the net worth of Elon Musk.
Okay.
Just to give you something to think about.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So we can
That's
see
one of the things that socialists will point to when they try to make their point about, equality and income, whatever. It's a bad argument, but that's the kind of thing they point to.
Yeah. So I want to draw the audience attention here so you can see where it says gross domestic product on the chart. You see what their GDP is, but then it shows you the GDP per capita at $4,000. So just to be clear, ladies and gentlemen, that is not good. Okay, that would be kind of the equivalent to
Here we go.
lower middle class living, perhaps, almost impoverished. I mean,
Like living in Norwich, Connecticut.
we don't think of Iran as a third world country, but that's not a good GDP there. And they claim that 4.7% growth is a little questionable. Now, we have an external debt of 5.45 billion as 1.51% of the GDP. I would question that. That seems way too low. Way too low. Okay. And so then you got and also the total population is put at about 88 million. And our understanding is it's around 92 million at this point.
Okay.
So that is sort of a quick cut. I wish I had more data on this. What we need is a breakout in terms of their exports and imports. Oil is obviously the major component, but they have some agricultural products and they've got some industrial stuff. And by the way, they are number 18 in the world when it comes to automobile manufacturing. So being ranked number 18 in the world is not great and it's not bad. And what it tells me is they've got technological chops, and so if you look at some of these other things, they've demonstrated some capability worth noting. Okay. All right. So all of this said, it's interesting. I'm putting up the very thing that's being destroyed as we speak, right?
Right.
So let me see if I can get the other. I'm going to take this one off. Where are you? Remove. And I'm going to add this one. Okay. This one. Darn it. Doesn't show it as well. But this is essentially.
That is hard to say. I can't see that.
All right. We'll just talk it through. All that blue stuff is power plants. And all those little things are other parts of their electrical grid. And these, for the time being, have not really been attacked all that much by America, but they're on the list.
Is this just for a minute? Is this piece of paper something you've just printed out on your printer? You copy and paste it off the internet?
Off the internet.
So I could help you with it. I know how to do this much. I can landscape that and blow it up.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I can't do it from here. You have to send me the document. I want for another time. Okay.
All right. So that.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So, and it's worth noting that where the F-15 went down, so if you look, you see the blue group, and then you see what looks like sort of a jagged line on the bottom of power plants, and just south of that is where the F-15 got shot down. Okay, which brings us to another hot topic. Now, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Iran is in the process of reconstituting itself. They may have very little left militarily, but they're putting it together and shooting down this F-15. Or is part of it. Now, there's two reports about the F-15 we got to deal with. One was a bunch of people who got out there, and what was happening was this F-15 was refueling at a very low altitude. So I'm told, or maybe they're confusing with what happened to the helicopter, but they couldn't. It was just made for. It was a turkey shoot. Okay, going slow, you're going in a straight line. You're at a low altitude, you're going to be an easy shot, okay? Now, there's this argument that there's the other report. The other report claims that they got hit with a ballistic missile, but the argument is it was a lucky shot. So who knows what to believe? But my reaction—
I don't buy the lucky shot theory.
Yes, my reaction is 10,000 some strikes all around this country here.
13,000 we're up to now, apparently.
13,000. There are going to be accidents. Things are going to get hit. Things are going to go down. This happens.
The fact that only one went down out of 13,000 is remarkable, in my opinion.
Yeah. So the other part is that one pilot was recovered from the F-15 alive, but the other they haven't been able to find yet. So we don't know what his disposition is yet.
Boy.
Yeah. So
hopefully the next time we see him on TV, it'll be on American TV and not Iranian TV.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to just use this as the setup for what I want to throw at as the big question. Okay. Now, before I say this, President Trump has done some what I regard as counterintuitive things with respect to developments in the Strait of Hormuz. Those counterintuitive things I'll leave out for now. But here's the thing. Russia and China have worked hard to build up good relationships with Iran. In both of their geopolitical strategies, Iran is a critical hub for the Mideast, just the way Venezuela was a critical hub for South America. Now, I'm not comparing the two, but what I do want to point out here is that when you add up all the bad things that we keep talking about over and over again, forgive me, okay? All the terrorist proxies, okay? All the dumb things they've done to Israel, okay? Terrorist cells supposedly set up in America and harassing the neighbors, the attack by the Houthis. What else am I leaving out here? Their development of ballistic missiles now and how they've used them in this conflict. Mm-hmm. And not to mention the nuclear weapons program. And while I'm at it, let's just add
the hostages, the USS Cole, the soldiers dead.
They haven't been very nice to their own people. Okay.
Right.
And which gets us into another very curious situation. But I'll just set that part aside for the moment and say that Russia and China have been perfectly comfortable with these nasty things that Iran has done because they want to be the hegemon of the Mideast. And this is causing the butt heads, yes, with Saudi Arabia. Okay? Now, let me just make another point because people are complaining about how long it's taking, and it's only 1 month. Yes, you had Kuwait, Desert Shield, Iraq. That didn't take long, but we're dealing with a different kettle of fish here.
That's right. They've been taking it for 47 years.
All right. So this is the main point about all of this that I would like to make. We, as in the Pentagon, has for the last, 47 years, been planning every year for the opportunity to come back and invade Iran. That has been a war plan in their desk, worked over year after year for 47 years. Okay, so chew on that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Meantime, hey guys, guess what? If we have been planning to go after a country that's been shouting death to America for 47 years, what do you think? Are they waiting for us to attack them?
Of course.
Yes, they are. Thank you.
Been waiting for a long time.
Okay, so guess what? They haven't been waiting. They've been planning. Okay.
Planning and waiting.
Okay. So all those tunnels, all those ballistic missile systems, all the work on nuclear energy, it's all part of they're sitting there going, look, come on, the Americans should have shown up by now. What's taking them so long?
Right.
Because we've had gutless pussies for presidents. Okay. I just want
Right. Every one of them.
there. Pretty much. Pretty much.
So here we are. Now they can do all the planning and waiting they want, but we're still going to kick their ass at the end of the day.
So, newsflash. Do not be surprised that it's going to take more than a month if you have them anticipating invasion fire from us for over 40 years.
Yeah. Right.
All right, let's put those two together, please. Mm-hmm. All right, that makes me feel better for the moment. Okay, so I just had to make.
Let's just say for the record right now, let's pray for the pilot that's missing or the south western part of Iraq, and hope this
dear Lord save him.
This person, this gentleman or woman or whatever is
all right,
is safe somewhere. Just to begin with, and comes home. So
okay, so here's the thing I want to throw out for your consideration, and this would be my magic controversial argument. Yes, I just said Russia and China depend heavily on Iran as part of their geopolitical strategy for influencing the Mideast, critical region as far as oil is concerned. So for them to have their foot in the door in that area is extremely important.
Well, they're not going to get their darn influence, but they can still get their oil cheap once we have a peaceful situation.
No, look,
you can have their oil, but you're not going to get your influence.
No.
Well, that's my position.
No, they will have lost the ability to station military. They've lost a customer. They've lost an oil source. Okay, if we take Iran, all right. So here's my radical proposal.
Well, I would wait a minute. I want to just disagree with that, because even if we do take Iran and create a friendly Iranian government that still produces oil, the oil's still for sale. You know, Donald Trump, we'll sell their oil to Russia and China. We're not going to boycott them.
Okay.
We're about free economy, so they can still buy their oil in Iran.
China will be, and the East Asian countries will be at greater risk of losing that oil.
Correct.
If it's a Western friendly regime, which leads to my main point that you keep cutting me off on. And that is no World War III. If we take Iran out of the picture, this will punch a huge hole in whatever warplanes China has and Russia.
Correct.
Okay. So taking them.
We're not starting World War III doing this. We're actually preventing it.
Taking them offers a great opportunity of stopping World War III. Right. So all the suffering, all the pain, all the problems, all the issues could well be worth it, because taking Iran will stop World War III in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And that is my point, ladies and gentlemen.
That's very good. That's a point the president should make.
At some point, it's probably a little too far for this. Somebody will make it eventually. So that is the key part there. Now, oh God, just to spit it out, we've heard before, we'll hear it again. Keir Starmer is really turning out to be a real jerk. There's an article suggesting that both France and England have allowed for their countries to become, quote, Islamicized.
Oh, that's true.
Right. So it's got to be stopped. I don't know how it's going to be stopped, but it's got to be stopped.
Probably with military, probably with police and military force, because it won't go. These guys aren't going to go away any other way.
Yeah. So, see, the funny thing is, this is a little bit like COVID, where you find that it's a small group of people who are given the power to direct others about how they should behave. And so in the case of COVID, you had all these doctors and administrators and nurses who were afraid to speak out because they were threatened with losing their jobs. Mm-hmm. In England, people who would normally stand up against this Islamization are threatened with their jobs as well by some small, powerful group.
Or their lives.
Yeah. So it's the same. Yeah. So
we're letting these evil people intimidate us is what's happening.
Right. Well, to a certain extent. Well, now speaking of intimidation, so we did mention the other night the fact that the strategic bomber bases in America are not well protected against drone attacks. And there was an article today that addressed that very issue. However, we had the case of the Chinese couple who got arrested because they attempted to plant an IED at an Air Force base. Does this sound familiar?
Mm-hmm. That was a couple months ago, right?
Nope.
Wasn't that last fall? Well, last fall was it?
Nope.
When was this?
Like yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. No, something like this happened last fall too. They arrested a Chinese lady from.
Okay, well, here's the problem, and it's a serious problem, and the timing is weird. All right, the couple that was arrested are what we call birthright citizens.
Oh boy.
In other words, Chinese. The parents came here to America. They were born here in America, went back to China, eventually came back to America. So they're technically American citizens.
But they were raised in China as commies.
Yes, raised in China as commies, and then they just came in to do what any communist saboteur would normally do. Okay, so I don't know. It's kind of funny that this happened to show up about the time of the Supreme Court hearing about birthright citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Okay. And it should be a loud note to the Supreme Court justices that we cannot have this birthright citizenship crap anymore, because we're going to get more of that and worse.
I 100% agree. Matter of fact, a repeal of, some people think if these judges do not do the right thing, that the only remedy, legally at least, would be a constitutional amendment to clarify the tension of the 14th Amendment, which would be really impossible to do, very hard to do.
With what we have currently, yes. So, yeah, another ugly subject. What can I say? So, okay. So then the other thing, maybe you can jump in with whatever you want at any given time, I guess, but I'm thinking about those rat asshole Democrats that we have in Hartford. Yes. Yes.
You know, maybe the terminology needs to change a little bit.
Yes.
First of all, I can't stand two things.
Yes.
Why are we the red and they're the blue? The red are the communists. We should be the blue. They should be the red. Number one. Number two, calling these people Democrats is starting to get a little ridiculous.
No, they're not. Yes.
No, it's like calling Jesse James the local law enforcement. You know, Jesse James the righteous. I mean, give me a break. What do we do about this? And what do we do about these Democrats in Hartford, in Connecticut? It's not. And here's the problem. And this gets to a thing that's going on with some of our congressional candidates. It's not just Democrat and Republican. It's the Republicans in this state. We don't have a Okay, let me put it this way. I'm going to give you a theory and tell me if you agree with me or not.
Well,
and I've been involved with this for almost 18 months now. Well, my whole life, but actively involved in it for 18 months. And here's the bottom line. The Republican Party, as the people envision it, does not exist.
The Republican Party.
The Republican Party, as the average citizen of Connecticut would have envisioned it as an opposition party to the Democratic Party, does not exist.
Well, I would no. It
doesn't exist.
It exists in bits and pieces.
Only in the grassroots.
I mean, the weirdest thing would be to say that it exists in the sense that in the back room you have malcontent conservatives bitching and moaning about how the rest of the party is conducting itself. So
yeah, there's a voice out there, but that's correct. So I'm not suggesting that there's absolutely no good people in Connecticut or anything like that are trying to fight for the right thing. There's a lot of us, actually. What I'm suggesting is the Republican Party as a brand in Connecticut does not exist the way people envision it. They think even people that the average Connecticut citizen, I believe, thinks the Republican Party just sucks at what they do. Yeah. They're there, they exist, they just suck at what they do, and they don't have a lot of support in Connecticut. It's hard for them, and that's just a bullshit.
Yeah,
it doesn't exist.
I mean, if I'm going to go back to what happened Madison that night in Madison at the that party for candidates. I just find that if there's somebody walking around, wearing an Aaron Stewart sticker, you don't know much. You call yourself a Republican, but you know,
And I think we should talk a little bit more about Erin.
yeah. If I started quizzing you, you're not going to do well.
She's going to be in Coventry on the 8th of April with Betsy and Fazio.
Okay. Yeah.
And I will be there with our cameras. And we're going to get to the bottom of a line of what Erin is doing, because Erin is she's not a conservative. You couldn't be more correct about that. Her voting record and her, you got to look what, you know what, when you're following politics, you got to look what people do, not what they say. That's what it comes down to. And Erin is a prime time example of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we've been trying to get her on our podcast for a while, and she's been teasing us.
Yeah, well, she'll keep doing that.
Yeah. I even offered to let her speak freely, and I wasn't even gonna, I was gonna let her have the whole forum to basically say whatever she wanted.
Well, that
a little Q&A toward the end.
No, that
I couldn't even do that.
No, she needs follow up, and lots of it. What do you mean by that?
Governor, it's not. Trust me, it won't be any better than Lamont. They may pass a few things along to make people feel better a little. Nothing that's going to really fundamentally change Connecticut. Put it in the right direction, though.
All right. So
not with Fazio, not with Stewart.
Yeah.
And John DeBarris would argue not even with Betsy, but I don't know if I agree with him on that. I think Betsy's a real fighter.
So what's his problem with Betsy?
She's setting herself up to lose.
Is that what he thinks?
Yeah.
Well, all right.
She's got the same problem that John has in terms of getting delegates.
Wait, you're telling me that Jonathan DeBarros is having trouble getting delegates?
Sure. He's going to have trouble getting enough delegates to get. He may not even end up on the ballot. With all that support he's got around him.
This makes no sense. So there's something wrong here if that's the case.
This race is getting national attention, by the way, too. So it will be embarrassing as hell for this semi-existent Republican Party. It'll be embarrassing for them if he doesn't even end up on the ballot with all the momentum he has in the cities and the countries and everything in between.
All right. So it's hard to. All right. There are, I believe, roughly 25 RTCs in the 5th district. It's a large number of RTCs. And
it is. I know of 3 of them that are snubbing him right now: Simsbury, Southbury, and Cheshire. Waterbury was in his corner until Fazio showed up, and now they're all rallying around him.
Fazio? He's running for the Fazio?
Not Fazio. Hayes. They put
Democrat. What are you talking about?
Who's Christopher Shea? Thank you. It's Shea. Late. Hayes, Shea, they're all the same. They put up Shea. So Proto, instead of supporting John, you don't have to be, Court, you don't have to be a smart man, really, to recognize John's momentum if you were chair of the Republican Party, and just kind of, at the very least, let him do his thing and say, hey, John, you got this. Great. No, Ben's putting up people against him. If that's not proof that Ben is a mole, I don't know what is. And he put up Shea against him, and Shea basically showed up at the Waterbury RTC, and they all went, oh, Shea, and just basically shut the door on John.
All right. All I can say is
they're hack.
You said there. All right. So something has to be done. That's all I can say. This is not right. Not right. So,
well, Selena Rifkin, my co-host, is now a delegate, so that's helpful.
Yes. Okay.
That's one vote.
Right.
I was joking around with her. I said, now that you're a delegate, you can go do the arm twisting thing.
Okay.
People said, no, hers is the arm that's going to get twisted.
All right, let's take a sports break here. I see you're wearing your Red Sox shirt.
Yeah, I am wearing my Red Sox shirt.
All right.
And I got to tell you, they won today finally. They're 2-5 now. They went at home, played well. Good to be home cooking. And I still think Alex Cora is a lousy manager. And Lou Merloni, this mamby-pamby attitude among the Red Sox nation, it's just not a winning attitude. Even though they have a lot of talent and they win games, the notion that, well, I told you the other day about how Lou Merloni was making comments about how, just a couple more, now that the games matter, it's a lot of pressure and they're struggling, and my answer to him was, don't be such a wussy, man. Look at the. You think the pressure of regular season games is bothering the Yankees right now, or bothering Houston, who's smacking the ball everywhere?
Right, so
So
having
this attitude of like, oh, it's too hard on us, and it's ridiculous. And then today he did it again. Today he says, Red Sox have picked up a couple of good new starting pitchers that have experienced, strong starting pitchers, and they've got racked. They got shelled in their first time around. And so Maloney, instead of saying, hey, they got to get it together, we got to start winning and doing what you're paid for, the answer is, oh, well, they're a little nervous in a new city, and it's kind of hard on them. And maybe after another couple of starts, they'll start to feel more comfortable. So Lou Maloney's already giving them an excuse to suck for another couple of starts while they mentally figure out what their new team is and figure it out. Oh, what is this? What kind of mamby-pamby crap is this, man?
Hmm.
Do you think the Yankees are worried about that? I mean, it is so sad. It is so sad. But today, but on a related note, if you didn't see it on my Facebook profile, you should check it out. A lot of people are checking it out. For the opening day ceremony, they brought the mayor of Boston, boo-hoo-woo.
Yeah, I saw
Who's
that.
a traitor and a skunk, along with the governor of Massachusetts, who is weak at the very. I don't know a lot about her, but to say the least, she's weak. Okay, at the beginning, she's probably also a far left winger. And they brought her out to the pitcher's mound to throw the first pitch, and the reception at Fenway was not friendly.
Mm-hmm.
It was a chorus of boos.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these are supposedly liberals in Boston, Massachusetts. People around Boston are supposed to be some of the most liberal left-wing people in the whole country, and they booed the crap out of Wu and I forget what her stupid name is, Staley or whatever it is. What's the governor of Massachusetts' name? You know?
I don't know. I'd have to.
She's a winger. She's a wingnut. And they booed when they said they introduced them, there was a big boo, and then when the two of them said together, play ball, they booed again, even louder. Nobody boos play ball on opening day. Only a skunk mayor like Mayor Wu could get a crowd in Boston to boo the words play ball on opening day.
I think Maura Healey.
That's her, Healy and Boo Hoo Woo. And it got a lot of views on Facebook too over here. A lot of people checked that out, and it was pretty entertaining actually. But it goes to what you said. I mentioned it to you earlier today. What you said made a lot of sense. How does this translate into all the Democrat votes up there then?
Yeah, no.
I have the answer for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Voter fraud.
Yeah,
voter fraud.
It sure looks like it, but
oh yeah. Same thing when you saw Donald Trump running for president in 2024 with massive crowds, 30, 40, 50,000 people. Couldn't even get him in the arena. Biden shows up and he's got 400 people there.
Mm-hmm.
And 200 of them are reporters.
Yet
Trump, yet we have a close election in 2020. Biden wins an election like that. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
There's no logical answer to that.
Well, this is part of the ongoing frustration.
You would have to believe that the people are willing to wait in 3 hours in line to see Donald Trump are not willing to take 15 minutes at the poll. That's what you have to believe.
I'm just going to go back to what I believe is outright fraud. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So until enough people focus on it in a relentless way, it will continue to be a huge ripoff. And the same is true in Connecticut.
I'm wondering if hopefully some of the things we've done by we're deporting thousands of illegal immigrants. Maybe we're not really taking care of the problem in whole, which bothers me. But we are taking care of some of the things that may turn some close elections that were close elections a little in our favor. Maybe, hopefully, some of these. I don't know how many of these illegal criminal aliens that are brought in here voting. Probably not a hell of a lot of them, but some of them are probably are. I know there is some momentum for the movement of cleaning up voter rolls. We may see some movement in some red states. That may help solidify the red states in the election this fall. But I don't know what they're going to do in blue states, quite frankly.
Well, the pattern in Connecticut has been time and again. It's election night. The votes are in, and there's always at least one or two cities that
wait.
And they wait as long as they can. That would be Hartford and Bridgeport. Okay.
To make sure they get the edge. Yeah.
Yeah, so they know how many fake ballots they have to get in there before they can be detected.
That's correct.
That's basically what it comes down to.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. So, I mean, salute to,
Guys like Rob Sampson aren't aware of that, apparently, though.
yeah, but salute to Linda D'Alessio for the work she's doing. I think it's called Unite for Connecticut or Unite for, let's see, United. I can't remember the group, but in any event, they're involved in election integrity, and she continually reminds us with this flyer she has that in the 2024 election, we had 274,000 more votes cast.
We have people registered.
Right. Or
That's
people
incredible.
voted, we should say. Okay.
That's incredible. Well, we're going to help her out once we get on our feet over here.
Yeah. So there's that. And then, let me just see. There's some other stuff here I wanted to jump on.
Jump on it.
Yeah. There's her. We don't want to talk about her too much. Come on. Where'd you go? All right. So how much serving did you do today?
How much serving did I do today?
Yeah.
I did not a lot, but I did do this morning I did one in Willimantic.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly worked around the office today. I went to Staples and ordered up on office supplies. It was kind of an easy day, actually. It's a holiday.
Right.
Good Friday,
And
I did a couple of them this morning. Last night was where I was really out there.
Yeah.
Last night I did a guy out in Bloomfield who's it was a company name.
Yeah.
But it was a house. It was a rather big company, but it was a house. So must have been an officer of the company's house or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a really very big fancy house. Usually big officers have big fancy houses. But it was a nice place. But the guy answered the door. He had to be 90.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Had to be 90. And I say, "Are you? I'm trying to get in touch with the affiliation of XYZ company, whatever." And he says, "No, it's not for me." No. And I say, "Oh, you sure you're not affiliated with this company? I mean, I have this address here for it. I don't know." And he goes, "Oh, I'll take it."
Oh, geez.
Like, "Okay, well, can I have your name, sir?" He goes, "No." And I said, "Well, come on, I can look you up online. Just your first name, maybe?" He's like, "Goodbye." Closes the door on me, right? And I got it all on video. And turns out I looked him up. I got his name, and
right.
He's retired, but he is like a one of the board members of the company. I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
it's pretty cool.
All right.
I got all on video. I'm starting to videotape these things now. I wasn't doing that really. I usually don't, as a policy, use video. I've been just going without it, but lately I've been popping little videos. I think obviously it covers what I'm doing. Number one,
right?
So they try to wiggle, but I don't bring them to my client. I keep them, and I have them. I don't turn them into my clients. I just keep a little library of them. And if I ever get that call down the road, "Oh, this guy claims you never served him," blah blah blah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so then the other thing is Cuba releases 2,000 political prisoners. Did you hear about that?
Cuba does?
Cuba just released 2,000 political prisoners.
Good. The Western Hemisphere is going to fall under freedom in its entirety soon.
Right. Well, I say Monroe Doctrine 2.0.
You got it. It's a beautiful thing. And Cuba probably is the last bastion of communism left in this hemisphere. Yes. Although there are some countries there are a couple South American countries that could use a boost in freedom, but
yes, but I mean,
nothing too threatening going on right now over here. So that's great.
Well, I mean, the sense is that as we keep chipping away at them bit by bit, the liberals will just have less support, less in the way of resources.
Mm-hmm.
Big one, of course, it remains Brazil, right? Because of all the crap that was pulled by Lula against Bolsonaro. And not much seems to have been done about that. It's just you turn around, you see all these things, there's something wrong. And every time it's still, we're waiting.
Well, as strong as we are, we can't fight every battle at once, maybe.
Right. So then there's another thing that is interesting. I think it was Amazon, Microsoft, and one of the company has cut back on their H-1B visa requests. I think. So it cuts both ways, because on the one hand, when Trump imposed the $100,000 fee for people who were applying, that would have cut down on the number of people from India who could get in under the H-1B visa.
Mhm.
Now now these companies have to say, well, I guess we're not going to get as many, so we'll have to cut our requests. That's a start, guys, but
It's a start. Yeah.
this whole H-1B visa program has to be zeroed out.
I want to. I could point out a couple of other little mini stories here.
Yes.
One of them is, did you hear what's going on in Mount Everest? I didn't mention this already, did I? I think I did.
Mount Everest?
Yeah, did you hear what's going on in Mount Everest?
You mean the poisoning scam?
Yeah.
Yes, I just happened to come across that.
Now look when you want to talk about this being a messed up world,
Yes.
dude, that's the story you got to go to. Like, you can't make this up. So let me just go over this briefly. They're taking healthy, fit mountain climbers, and the tour guides have conspired with local medical professionals
Yes.
to poison climbers with baking powder.
Yes.
Baking soda, excuse me, I believe. Which, when you eat too much baking soda, the symptoms that you get will will mirror or be similar to the symptoms you get when you have high altitude sickness.
I see.
And they're using this poison and this chemical reaction to poison, I don't know if some or all of, probably some of the climbers, getting them sick and thereby putting them in to the care of these
Doctor.
healthcare professionals, and they must have some kind of a money exchange going on there.
Insurance money, yes.
Yeah. Now, wow. Wow. Now think about it. You just trained your whole life to try to go climb Mount Everest. Do you really need this?
No, you don't.
Oh man. That's some bad stuff. Like, what kind of a world is this?
It's messed up. I don't think I have
my goodness.
Right. So there's that. So but then also there's Trump made a comment about how they're going to be in possession of Cuba soon. So he'd been making that statement. Then this news announcement about
when he says in possession of Cuba, he means have a friendly government in Cuba, basically. Well, I don't think it means us taking over Cuba. Maybe that's the 51st state.
No, I don't think so.
No. But it's closer. It's in close proximity. It's closer than Hawaii. We have that as a state.
Okay, so remember, we have a lot of nations that are annexed, if you will. Mm-hmm. And that's usually the path, is that they spend a period of time being annexed, and then they are confronted with the option of becoming a state.
Correct.
And I think there's no better example than Puerto Rico. Now, in their case, they've been a commonwealth without being a state for a very long time. And
if they become a state, though, they're going to be likely be two more left-wing seats of the Senate, though.
Yeah, there are pluses and minuses. I mean, in the case of a place like that, which has received a lot of benefits, they don't pay an income tax.
Mm-hmm.
There are other rules, I think, that don't apply to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're allowed ease of travel they wouldn't otherwise have. I'm trying to remember what some of the other things are, but you get the idea. So there are advantages to not being a state. So that's enough to convince a number of people that they don't want statehood.
Yeah, there's a movement to not be a state in Puerto Rico for sure.
Correct. All right. So if we annex Cuba, I think, well, I don't know. The thing is, you think about all those Cuban Americans in Florida and how they love America. They, I think it's fair to say, would love nothing more than for Cuba to be the 51st state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the communist government in Cuba, whatever is there is left, is very strong at this point. It doesn't sound like it.
This is the problem. Plus, have you seen any of these interviews with Castro's grandson?
I heard. I know he's lying through his teeth, but tell us.
Well, he's a party animal. He doesn't. I mean, he's a part of the government, but he seems to be kind of sitting in the back of the room, so to speak. These other people who think they're running Cuba, they're a little bit more difficult, and I think they just use him as a prop.
Okay, so he's just basking in the glow of it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. Well, Cuba, I think, is an easy take, honestly. There's a little time and patience, and there's a lot of like you said, there's a lot of close relationships between our citizens that live in Florida who do have family members that live in Cuba. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of close association there, and I could see it actually. If we handle it the right way, it could turn into a big hug and brotherly love thing without a lot of really need for military action or anything like that, or any kind of
And you forget there was that at least one protest where they attacked. God, I can't remember which consulate or embassy it might have been, or government building. I think it was a government building they attacked and set it on fire. It was a huge thing several weeks ago. So, and then you catch these other videos where you have the people who live in Cuba talking about how they want freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very confusing because
people want freedom. Well, I do think it's a cross-cultural thing. I really do.
You know, you have to be careful about that because you go back to the nonsense over Iraq, for example, when Cheney and others said they'll greet us as liberators. Well, not really.
You know, I found out, we talked the other day a little bit about Starlink,
about
jamming Starlink and whatnot in Iran.
Yeah.
I found out more about that today.
Yeah.
You really can't jam Starlink. They're not jamming it. What they're doing is they're going door to door, and they've arrested dozens of people. And anyone who's been caught with a Starlink device is being imprisoned and executed. So they're doing it through thuggery. So there are some Starlink hookups going on in Iran, but it's almost the way they're not coming out into the streets the same way. They're afraid to, because I think you can't jam the Starlink signal, but you can try to detect it somehow, I guess. And they're just going around and they're really coming down hard on people that have Starlink, you know. So right now, apparently less than 1% of the people, no, it's 1/10 of 1% of the people of Iran are receiving internet access right now. That's only 1 million people, not even 1 million people. So,
right. So then it's not a way in which they're going to communicate.
Well, no, I guess it brings hope that if there's no jamming signal, that with the right movement, that more Starlink devices could be smuggled into Iran.
Yeah,
which could open, and the more we weaken the regime, the safer it will be to start bringing more Starlink units into. We could drop Starlink units. So in other words, that is still in play. It's just right now the Iranian government is still doing a relatively good job of suppressing it. But there are people seeing the internet in Iran. It's just not a large number enough yet. But that battle is going on. That internet access battle is going on.
Right. So the other part with this, just to bring it up, is defections. We don't see a lot of. We hear mentions here and there. Okay, we haven't heard much about the Atesh Army, which we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Bushehr, the Thug Brigade, and they've been attacked a lot, but they haven't fallen apart. And
when you're dealing with a religious theocracy or religious doctrine-based ideology, there's not gonna be a surrender. It's gonna be very difficult to weed all this out. So it's gonna continue. They're gonna try to continue to attempt to reconstitute, and they will succeed in some ways doing that, and other times they won't. This is gonna take patience and perseverance by the American public and by the United States military, and some international cooperation. With that, this will be a victory. It's just going to take a little more time. That's all. I think it's still in the weeks. Total turnaround will take years, honestly. But military victory, I think, is weeks away.
Let's put it this way: we've degraded the equipment of the military very well.
Mm-hmm.
The personnel, not so well.
Mm-hmm.
The personnel are the ones that really need to be dealt with. And
we have killed a lot of the leadership. I think it's the middle management where there's probably thousands upon thousands of them. You know.
Yes, that would be correct.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to be particularly determined to fight on in spite of all the destruction that's going on around them. And I think what happens is the limited success they have just seems to egg them on. Now,
it gets amplified by our own media to start with.
Yes. Now, that said, I just want to make a statement. First of all, you've heard me complain because I feel that the Trump administration has basically been putting out what amounts to propaganda and happy talk about the progress that we're making. Okay. Then on the other hand, we've had various critical sources that really want us to believe that Iran is winning in some fashion and that we're in a quagmire.
The answer is probably somewhere right in the middle.
Yeah, and I hate
how it goes.
And I hate to tell you who I think played it down the middle really well. CNN. There was an article by folks at CNN, and I said, this captures perfectly the conflicting messages that are coming out of this fight. All right. On the one hand, to talk about all these strikes, but then on the other hand, the Iranians still have the ability to strike back. Okay.
Are you suggesting that CNN is doing the most accurate reporting on this war out of all the major networks?
I'll just say this one particular article, when I read it, I said, with all the things that I've read, all the things that I've heard, this is the most not only balanced, but I would say forthrightly honest portrayal of what's going on. Okay. You know,
well, CNN has one or two good reporters there still,
I guess. And so they were working on this story. And
so the story, I'm going to guess that I didn't read this article, but I'm going to guess you did. And in reading it, there wasn't anything said about Donald Trump during this article that was unfair then, right?
No, I wouldn't call it unfair. Okay. Because,
and to be fair with President Trump for a minute.
Yeah.
It makes sense when you're constituting a just war the way he is to try to pump up the war as a success as much as you can.
Yeah, that's your job.
That's his job to do that, actually.
Right.
You know, to go on there and say, "Hey, what went bad," it's just not the thing to do, really. So he knows the other side's going to do that for him. So why help them?
Right? Okay, that's a good point.
You know?
I can't argue with that. Nonetheless, we see all this stuff that's going on. Let me give you. This is kind of. I still come back to the model for thinking about this that says we're still figuring out the problem. All right. So let me give you a historical example of figuring out the problem. And I think it models also some things about Iran. Mm-hmm. There was the early phase in the D-Day invasion where during July, we were stuck fighting from hedgerow to hedgerow in the French farmland. Mm-hmm. Do you remember this story at all?
That's what Saving Private Ryan is about, kind of, isn't it? That's how the movie starts.
That was about more than that. So this,
of course, but that's where the movie starts in that struggle.
So the, what's the point I want to make about this? When you read this account, all right, the Germans understood what a great defensive barrier these hedgerows were, because this is farmland. So what you had was between the hedgerows, these deep sunken roads, which were natural places to travel. Mm. So you had snipers and people with mortar, Germans with mortar, just set up right down that lane, knowing the Americans are going to come down it, and they'd be like sitting ducks. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, because we didn't know about that. The other part was that the Germans built into the base of the bush, the hedgerow bush, mm-hmm. Machine gun nests, right? So they were perfectly positioned to provide crossfire in the field, okay, as Americans were coming up. And then the important part was, because the way these hedgerows were built, right, they were mounds, right? Mm-hmm. And where there were openings in the hedgerows or any place where a Sherman tank would want to break through, there was a moment when the tank's coming like this, okay, comes up the mound, and then as it breaches the mound, the underbelly of the tank is exposed, and it's the weakest part of the tank. Mm-hmm. And so then...
kind of like a crocodile.
Right, so then the Germans would have like their own version of a bazooka gun hit the Sherman tank right at that point. So we were stymied, all right, between the killer alleys, the killer fields, and the ability to hit the Sherman tank at a vulnerable moment trying to breach the hedgerows. We didn't know what to do, okay? So just like the Iranians have seen us coming, and they're using their missiles and drones, So the Germans saw us coming back then and set up their machine guns and their sniper fire to make life difficult, and bazookas to make life difficult for us.
And we still won within a year.
But so the point I want to make is that it took what we'll call in-field innovation. And in World War II, there are lots of examples of this. People who are not qualified engineers, but back home, they were a mechanic, they were a carpenter, they were a plumber, or, they worked in the library. However, they had the ability to think, okay? They could look at the problem and say, I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the kicker. The iron that was used to create those, what's the word I'm looking for? They're obstacles, they're barriers on the beaches in Normandy.
Mm-hmm.
Pieces of steel that were welded together to form.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when we finally broke through, all that stuff was cast aside as scrap. But it turns out that the solution to the problem was to take that scrap that the Germans had put there in the first place, and there was a way to weld it on front of the Sherman tank that totally defeated the Germans' ability to shoot the tank.
Beautiful. Use their own equipment against them.
Exactly. But
the
Iranians are arguably being resilient and adaptive, but so the Americans can be that too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So they could find themselves in a situation not too long from now where some of their defensive strategies will have been pretty much invalidated by some ideas that we come up with if we haven't done it already. I described to you about the electronic warfare corridor that was being set up in the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know how far along that is, but that was an example of something that the Iranians did not anticipate.
That's correct. Americans have always been very good at very resourceful people. We've always been very resourceful people.
Right. Well, that's a critical feature. It defines our success as a nation, frankly.
Correct. Take this map of Iran down.
Take it down?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
Well, just go back to just you and me.
Okay.
Just you and me, kid.
Okay. Let's see here. Let me all right, remove. Okay.
There we go.
All right.
That's what I'm talking about. But I don't think that the U.S. military has ever, I don't think the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is looking at this and saying we've bitten off more than we can chew. I think we knew what was coming.
Oh, no. I mean, I paid the point. It's a serious point. Okay. I'm not just making a rhetorical statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Literally, factually. All right. The Pentagon ran simulations, did planning, issued reports, had working groups, all with answering the question, what do we do when we get to Iran? Every year.
Mm-hmm.
Every year for 47 years. Okay.
So we know this. We got this.
Right. Well, I wouldn't say that. The old saying.
It's going to take a while longer.
No.
Week. I don't even think the 2 or 3 week time frame is quite enough.
No plan survives the first bullet. Okay. So you always have to adapt. You don't have any choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
so all of this said, you still get the sense that there is a hell of a lot of stuff that assets that have to be destroyed. I mean, it's funny how somebody came back and said, oops, it looks like America didn't really destroy all of the Iranian Navy. They've still got a few boats, and they've still got a lot of the attack boats. Well, gee, what a surprise. 4,000 or 5,000 of them, and we haven't gotten them all yet? I'm not surprised, okay?
No, I'm not surprised. We haven't gotten them all. But that doesn't mean when Trump says the Navy has been largely destroyed, that it's not true. I mean, it largely has been largely destroyed, even if they got a few boats left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've done a lot. We've decimated and I don't think their Air Force has got anything going on left. I haven't heard one word of any kind of Iranian plane in the air at all. So
that would be the drones. But the real problem here is that the Iranians just need to hit 1 or 2 ships, all right, for everybody to go crazy, because then the insurance companies won't insure those ships going through the Strait of Hormuz.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we can stop 99%, but if 1% gets through, that's enough to ruin everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it's seen. So You know, the challenge at the moment is upon us, upon America, to find a way to open up that strait. So making it a bargaining chip in this so-called discussion with whoever the leaders are of Iran is it's just chaff, okay? It's just confetti you throw up in the air and say, whoopee-doo, we're negotiating.
Yeah, the whole idea that we're negotiating with Iran is, I think that's just being said to get a lot of the peace-loving people in the public to think that we're working on a deal. You can't. They're not going to be a deal with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. Trump knows. Trump is the master of the deal. He knows there's no deal here.
Yeah.
He might have been hoping for it last fall or before this started, but he knows there's no deal now.
All right. Well, the other part here to keep in mind is the fact that Zelensky's made these trips to Saudi Arabia to sell their drone technology has also sent a shock to Moscow and to Putin. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The very guys that they thought they had under control are suddenly developing an export market. And by the way, the export market for Ukrainian military equipment is growing,
Mm-hmm.
while the market for Russian military equipment is shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
Because, gee, it looks like those defense systems, air missile defense systems they put, the S-300 and 400, didn't work out so well.
Russia's not winning that war.
No. So that said, they have gained ground in some areas, but they've lost ground in others. And
I think what's going to happen with that war is it'll eventually get settled. They'll give Russia a little chunk of land out of the Ukraine to help him save some face, and that's where it's going to end.
All right. Well, we'll quote you on that. I, for one, don't buy it, but
it depends on what happens with Iran. But once we dispose of Iran, there's really not a lot of, like you said, it just takes away so much of China and Russia's clout, But I still think they'll be able to buy oil from Iran eventually. It's just not going to be as they're not buying it from an ally; they're buying it from a Western source. So
right.
It's not going to be the same for them, But
yes, they'll probably be buying it at full price.
They'll still buy oil at full price, yeah.
Okay,
which is what we want. That's what the economy is all about. Free market economy is all about.
Yeah. So I mean, that's
what Trump's telling Europe right now. Hey, buy our oil. Yeah. We're open for business.
Okay. The thing that that Russia is doing is they are ramping up their mass production of the Shahed drones, or Russian version of the Shahed drone, and that will prove problematic because
drones are a real threat to if you think about it in the long. We talk about AI, but drones, a massive army of drones, could really be a super threat to like people like you and me if it was used in the wrong vein. I mean, in theory, you could send 150 drones out at once to 150 different residences to do whatever evil needs to be done at that residence. It's pretty scary.
Well, then we have to come up with a counter strategy.
Absolutely.
Yes, and that's top secret. So that doesn't get shared here on air.
I'll have to go down to my war room tunnel and work it out after the show.
Yes, we have open area around here where we can run some tests.
All right. Are we ready for tonight?
Just about. I see got a couple minutes here. I'm just wondering if there's one other thing to pound away on here.
I want to see if you have that piano.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to get it tuned up. And
Rodas Vata.
What?
Oh, the song.
Right. Yeah, the song. Okay. Well, you should feel free to give a spontaneous performance if you like.
Okay, I will. One of these times.
Your ukulele.
I will. We'll do it. Not right now, though.
Okay. Too late. All right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll bag it for now, and
we'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
Right. Yep.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
All right.
Okay. For Common Sense News and Entertainment, remember the battle is always between